Okay, pre-algebra, I'm going to do a couple of examples, and these are the two-step equations that we did yesterday, and I'm really putting this video up in case Brayden does want to watch it. I didn't get it done last night. And then, of course, for Amy, who was not at class yesterday, and we miss her. So, Amy, this is a reminder of how to do the two-step equations. We did these right before Thanksgiving break, and then I assigned these yesterday. So the assignment packet that you got, this will be the one that says Monday. Okay, so what we're going to do when we solve two-step equations with fractions is the same thing that we do when we solve regular two-step equations. We're always trying to get the x by itself, so the first thing we're going to get rid of is what's not stuck to the x, which is this minus 7/8. So I'm going to write plus 7/8 underneath, and that cancels that out, and so I'm going to write plus 7/8 underneath the negative 1 1/3. And now I have to look, since the signs are different, I need to subtract these two fractions, and my bigger fraction is on top because 1 1/3 is bigger than 7/8, and that means I know that my answer will be negative because the top one is negative. So now I'm going to find a common denominator, which is 24. Okay, and so 3 times 8 is 24, 1 times 8 is 8, so make this 24, and 8 times 3 is 24, so 7 times 3 is 21. And since I can't say 8 minus 21, I'd be borrowing from the 1, which is 0, and that makes this 8. Remember, you add that to get the new top, makes it 32, and I can say 32 minus 21, that would be 11, so I'm going to write 11 over 24. I'm running out of room. And so over here I'd have negative 3/4 x. So now what I need to do to get rid of the negative 3/4 x is I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, so I'm going to multiply by negative 4/3. I want it to be the exact same, just flipped over. So to make sure you carry that negative across, that cancels all this out, leaves you just with the x. And so over here I'm going to write times negative 4/3, because remember it needs to be the same. So this means our answer is positive because this is negative and this is negative, so we know it's going to be positive. So I cancel where I can, which is the 4 and the 24. So that becomes 1, and that becomes 6, and then I multiply across. 11 times 1 is 11, and 6 times 3 is 18. The negatives cancel out, so the answer is positive 11 over 18. So here's another example. Let me erase some of these marks down here. There we go. Alright, so here what we're going to do is we want to get the x by itself again, so we get rid of what's with it, which is the first thing that's not stuck to it is the 7 3/4. So since it's plus, I'm going to write minus 7 3/4. And so I put that under the 3 1/10 minus 7 3/4. And here, since this one's positive and this one's negative, I'm going to subtract, but I will need this one on top because 7 3/4 is bigger than 3 1/10. So I'm going to go put it down here. And I'll write 7 3/4 minus 3 1/10. And since the 7 3/4 was the negative, I know my answer is going to be negative, so I'm just going to put that down there. And then I find a common denominator, and with 4 and 10, that's 20. And so 4 times 5 is 20, and 3 times 5 is 15. 10 times 2 is 20, so 1 times 2 is 2. So now I can subtract. 15 minus 2 is 13, so I'm going to write 13 over 20. And 7 minus 3 is 4. So that's what I end up with on this side. And over here, that cancels out, so I can just bring this down, and I have 2 1/5 x equals that. So what I want to do next is I want to do the U-turn on both sides, right here. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I have 11 over 5x, and over here 20 times 4 is 80, plus 13 is 93. And I know this is a big one, but you can do it like that. So now what I need to do, remember I'm bringing that, make sure that negative follows it because that's important. To get rid of the 11 over 5x, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to say times 5 over